Welcome back, True Seeker. At the beginning of this baseball season, I said Pete Rose better look out at age 83. And I said that when we were covering the Ohtani gambling scandal. If you recall, the beginning of this baseball season began with big news that millions of dollars had been placed in MLB bets out of Shohei Ohtani's baseball account. And then the story became that it was his translator who was placing the bets, and Ohtani didn't even realize that millions of dollars had come out of the bank account. Somebody better teach Ohtani money management. Who keeps money in a bank account? You don't get any interest. What a waste. I guess when you got as much as Ohtani, it's like, who gives a shit? But in all seriousness, I said, gambling in baseball, hello, Pete Rose. And I pointed out back then that he was 83 years old, that very fateful number. And now, look, you guys, he's dead on the last day of the MLB regular season, one day before the postseason begins. And of course, Pete Rose was part of the 1983 World Series. He was on that Phillies team that lost to Baltimore. And you might recall how this season began with the owner of Baltimore dying. And he died on the anniversary of the Key Bridge opening. And then 3 days later, the Key Bridge collapsed by the numbers. But knowing the numbers, I knew Pete Rose was probably in big trouble and now just dead at the most perfect of time. Again, right before the postseason gets underway. And you know what today's date numerology is? It's September 30th, 2024. So let's add it up. 9 plus 30 plus 20 plus 24 is 83. And just like how at the beginning of the year I connected this to Shohei Ohtani, look how perfect this is, you guys. It's undeniable. It's undeniable. Shohei Ohtani, today is 87 days after his birthday. Can you see that? That it's 87 days after Ohtani's July 5th birthday? Look at the full name of Pete Rose. Peter Edward Rose Sr. with the alphabetic order and numerology, what we consider the most pure cipher in the English language. 87. And realize 87's been a huge theme this year with death because the Pope is 87. And essentially at the end of the day, all of these rituals do trace back to the Pope. And then if you remember, the AP, Associated Press, published the story about Ohtani and the millions out of his bank account for gambling on March 21st. Look, from March 21st until today, September 30th, is 193 days later. Shohei Ohtani equals 193. Again, if you're new here, base ciphers of the English language. There's 4 base ciphers, alphabetic order with numerology. It's one where the majority of our work is done. But then also just running the alphabetic order in reverse and in reverse with numerology. They're all important. And in that cipher, Shohei Ohtani 193. Of course, that's the 44th prime number. 44 is very fateful. Kill equals 44, like execution. And from Pete Rose's birthday, which is April 14th, from his April 14th birthday to his death, it's his 170th day of his age. We've seen this one before, sacrifice 170. And again, he was in the 83 World Series on the Phillies team that lost to Baltimore 4-1. Baltimore equals 41 like Key. Remember, the Key Bridge fell down 3 days after the Baltimore Orioles owner died. And it was on Nancy Pelosi's birthday, who's from Baltimore, that bridge collapsed. And her father had the same birthday as Francis Scott Key, and he was also the 41st mayor of Baltimore. You might recall how Mahomes got his 41st career road win in Baltimore in the AFC Championship last year. But yeah, adding insult to injury. Pete Rose was banned from baseball in 89, right? 89 is the 24th prime number. We've seen a lot of that combination this year, 89 and 24. When Harbaugh won the championship with Michigan, he got his 89th win with Michigan. When Mahomes won the Super Bowl with the Chiefs, he got his 89th career win. Yesterday, he got his 93rd career win on the day, leaving 93 days left in the year. On a Sunday, when they say the sun's 93 million miles away and they say it's a star, and he was in LA, the land of the stars. But coming back to this, look at what day that he was banned from baseball, August 24th. That's interesting, right? Because the majority of the world writes that date 24/8, like 248. And how old is the country right now? The United States of America is 248 years old, as is the Illuminati, founded by the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt. And what is a rose to the Illuminati or any secret society? It's a symbol of secrecy. And by the way, Dikembe Mutombo, who died earlier today, by the numbers, as we covered. If you missed that one, it's even more undeniable. Dikembe Mutombo's wife's name is Rose. Isn't that interesting? Dikembe dies and he leaves behind his wife and children, but his wife's name's Rose. And then on the same day, Pete Rose is dead. NBA is about to kick off. Baseball's about to wind down. Just for the record, Rose, the surname, does have that gematria just like Moon. He's dead on a Monday, Moon Day. 57 is always a big number with the World Series. If I'm not mistaken, there's a certain team in the MLB postseason that if they won 4 games in the World Series this year, they'd have 57 wins in the World Series all time. You could argue it doesn't have to happen this year, but again, we're always looking for those 57s when the World Series rolls around. And is that Steve Garvey in that picture standing behind him? Hold up. Is that Steve Garvey right there? Because this whole... Oh my God. I think that's Steve Garvey on the Padres. Isn't that him? This whole season stink was Steve Garvey, who's expected to become a senator this year, the former Dodger and Padre. So can somebody confirm for me who grew up in... I'm pretty sure that's Steve Garvey right there. And you see what's messed up about this? When the Shohei Ohtani news broke that he was there was this gambling thing, that was when the MLB season opened early between the Padres and Dodgers. And again, this photo right here is from ESPN. So what a symbolic photo, if I'm not mistaken, about that being Steve Garvey. And it would make sense because that's Pete Rose at first base, and Steve Garvey was a first baseman, wasn't he? Yeah, he played first mostly. He also played third base. But again, Steve Garvey played for the Dodgers and Padres. They opened the season 8 days before everybody else in Korea. And then the news broke the day of game 2 about Ohtani with the gambling thing. And now, it just, I get so annoyed that I mean, really, for all that we've proven in the 11 years I've been here, we should be doing like our 10,000th guest appearance on the Joe Rogan podcast, every major outlet getting out this information and changing the world. Because again, I know exactly what I said back when all this stuff was going on. I said Pete Rose better watch his ass at age 83. And now on the last day of the season, man. And the reason they even have to do stories like this, like, oh, yeah, it's like they're trying to protect the integrity of their sport by making up propaganda like this. Oh, see, if you bet on baseball, if you're in on a rigged thing, we're going to punish you for life. In reality, all these guys are in on the rig. It is Steve Garvey. Yeah, that's Steve Garvey. And again, here, I'm just going to go back down memory lane for everything we've been talking about with Steve Garvey this year. Again, Garvey played for the Dodgers and Padres. Not only did they open the season 8 days before everyone else, they also had the first spring training game of the year, and the Dodgers won 14-1, which is symbolic because it's their 141st season. Okay, the Dodgers' 141st season, first spring training game of the year. Steve Garvey's teams, 14-1. What are the odds? Yes, they even script the spring training, as we've been showing you all along. Yes, they script all of the preseason sports. You can take advantage of that in gambling too. Understand how rigged the games are. But yeah, this right here is just so sick and symbolic. And if everybody wants to go back and dig through my March 20, probably 21st live stream, might have said it the next day, March 22nd. I know it's right around there where I was talking about all this. Yes, we were just doing the Patreon live stream for football tonight, and somebody called in and said, hey, did you hear Pete Rose died? And I immediately said, oh, man, is he still 83? I remember he was 83, and I said, you better watch out. Yeah, he's still 83. Yeah. What are all these award ceremonies for journalists and investigative journalists? How come I haven't gotten any yet? I feel like I've been doing the best investigative journalism there ever was. How many awards is ESPN going to get this year at those ceremonies as they mock your ass with Steve Garvey grinning in the background as they give you the Pete Rose tribute as he's dead? And by the way, where's 83 fit in with Steve Garvey this year, you guys? You know where it fits in, right? I was talking about this earlier this year with all the 83 shit they were doing with Trump. That word also connects to election. Election. Steve Garvey's expected to become senator. And you know what's messed up is he's going to replace the Jewish woman who died. Why can't I think of her name? The Jewish senator in California. And we're right near the Jewish New Year, just like how they killed Ruth Bader Ginsburg. The last, she was the second to last Jew on the Supreme Court. Now it's all Catholics. But they killed her on Rosh Hashanah. We're just days from Rosh Hashanah. Man, that photo of Steve Garvey. See, when I was rushing to get this out and cover it before Sweet Lady comes home, and it just now dawned on me while I'm presenting that that's Steve Garvey back there. Today's 283 days after Steve Garvey's birthday. Here's why that's funny. That's the 61st prime number, and here's where he's going to. Washington, D.C., 61. Pete Rose made his name in Ohio, 61. 61's the 18th prime, baseball 18. So you see how that mathematical connection goes? 283's the 61st prime, 61's the 18th prime. Of course, baseball in the base ciphers is 54 with the alphabetic order, like 54 outs in a game, 18 like the half innings, 162 when you run the alphabetic order in reverse, like the number of games in a season, 54 again when you run it in reverse with numerology. Don't forget when you write out Major League Baseball, it's also 162, the games in a season. You know what else that means, you guys? It's 83 days before Steve Garvey's upcoming birthday. If it's 283 days after his last birthday, it's 83 days to his upcoming in a leap year because there's 366 days in the year. You guys think your elections are real, huh? You think going out and casting votes in the rig selection, you think you're doing anything? Steve Garvey just got the only vote that matters from the Illuminati. Here's a blood sacrifice to put your ass there, Steve. And then when you're 80, watch. How old is Steve Garvey right now? Enjoy it, Steve, because you're 75. You might got 8 years left, maybe 9, since baseball's a game of 9s. Maybe they'll let Steve live to 84. Man, it's all right there, you guys. It's all right there. Here, just for anyone who missed the Dikembe Mutombo, because surely everyone's going to be asking me to do the decode, even though I got 2 videos out on it. That's the way it works around here with no one getting notifications. Hey, when are you going to cover Dikembe Mutombo's death? Well, I already got 4 fucking videos on it, but why not do a 5th? Dikembe Mutombo, dead at 58. Dikembe Mutombo, 58. Drafted by the Nuggets. Dead right before the Nuggets' 58th season gets underway. Big number with the secret societies like Donald Trump, the apprentice, the first degree of Freemasonry, announces he's running from the 58-story Trump Tower only to win the 58th election. Dikembe Mutombo, dead 97 days after his birthday, a span of 25 days before the Nuggets opened the season. Those are death numbers. Just talked about this in a big way on September 7th with all the deaths, including the former Clemson player. Dikembe Mutombo was one of the Twin Towers with Alonzo Mourning at Georgetown. The biggest upset of NFL Week 4 in light of Dikembe being the 4th pick of the draft out of Georgetown. The biggest upset of the week was Denver in New York, where Dikembe was drafted to Denver when the draft was in New York in 91. But, Sean Payton went in with a symbolic 9-11 record to take out the Jets. And anyway, from Georgetown's birthday to his death is 251 days, going with ritual sacrifice. 251's the 54th prime, like John Carroll, the Jesuit, established Jesuit Georgetown at age 54. And a million rituals with 54 in Georgetown. Here's the latest. Again, the other Twin Tower there was 54-year-old Alonzo Mourning. It's almost a reminder that they got Osama bin Laden. They just couldn't find him in all the caves out there until it was 2011 to go with all the 11s on 9/11. But then they got him on his 54th day of being 54 years old. Anyway, Alonzo Mourning's 54 right now. The big center for the Nuggets currently is the Joker. Here we are days before the new Joker movie. And again, notice it's 224 days after Joker's birthday and 235 days after Alonzo Mourning's. What's the formal title of the Jesuits? The Society of Jesus, 224 and 235, as well as 91, like the year he was drafted. It's the 274th day of the year, like the Jesuit motto, Isus Hominum Salvator equals 274, like they've celebrated the sun's birthday in the sky since 274 AD. The 9/11 joke, Dikembe was one of the Twin Towers and inducted into the Hall of Fame on 9/11. In 2015, Atlanta equals 15, where he died. Then the first game in the MLB after his death's announced is 15 runs in Atlanta. Yesterday, the Falcons won on a 58-yard field goal, and thank God they did because we had them to win. Again, they're using technology to ensure outcomes, but I'm telling you, that 58-yard field goal to win it's not an accident. He's dead 185 months after his last NBA game. World Trade Center's 185, like how they came down 185 days after Bin Laden's birthday. Again, from the Nuggets winning their only finals on the other Bush's birthday, you know, the son was the president when 9/11 happened. The other one said, New World Order on 9/11, 1990, 11 years to the day. Again, the Nuggets won the finals on that Bush's birthday anniversary. And don't forget, NORAD out near Denver was a big part of 9/11 because they were the ones running the military drills that confused everybody, which was supposedly why the planes couldn't respond or the American fighter jets. But anyway, 68 weeks from the only championship by the Nuggets to the death. Denver 68, like basketball, like mathematics, like championship equals 68 forwards and 58 in reverse, because again, he's dead at 58, and it's all synced up with the Jesuits. And we're in the time of the first Jesuit Pope, who's also Mr. 58, who became a Jesuit in 1958. The Jesuits created modern Freemasonry. DC's the Jesuit Masonic city. Dikembe played until he was 42. TMZ was nice enough to find a photo of him from the day leaving 42 days left in the year. From 92, and he's dead on the day leaving 92 days left in the year, like Manhattan equals 92, like the Twin Towers came down in Manhattan and they turned to dust, like there must have been some big bombs somewhere around, researched from the Manhattan Project. Ground Zero, terminology that came out of the Manhattan Project. But again, he was Jesuit educated. Nice little photo there from TMZ, who always does it by the numbers. Jesuit, Georgetown, slavery, Tuskegee, Jackie, Malcolm X, Martin, Huxtable, Cosby, showing 1,000 other things, all equal 42. Remember the other week it was the Georgia politician with the last name Robinson, where they traced back to 14 years ago when he was 42 years old, when he's posted on some porn site that he was a black Nazi. That was the same night Ohtani. That was the same night, you guys, that Ohtani made the 50-50 club. Notice how Jack Robinson, the real name of Jackie, equals 50. This season began on what would have been the 50th day of Jackie Robinson's age. He had power and speed, and now Ohtani creates the 50-50 club. Barry Bonds is like, I can do it too. Let me out of retirement. Yeah, John Thompson, they did him dirty. He was born on 9/2. He was the coach of Dikembe when he was at Georgetown with Alonzo. And again, just the Joker movie coming out on 10/4. It's just a reminder that the Nuggets won that finals game one with 104 points. And it was synced up with the French Open because the other Serbian Joker, Novak Djokovic, won the French Open at the same time. And then ESPN put out this image for everybody to see. A young Joker, when he was 5 years old, wearing a Nuggets sweatshirt, and said, what are the odds of that? Just treating the fans like they're totally brain dead, like these aren't some Manchurians holding a damn tennis racket, as one Joker from Serbia is winning the French Open and the other is winning the NBA Finals on the anniversary of Mr. New World Order's birthday. And remember, after Bush got out of office, we got Clinton in, and there were wars going on in Bosnia and Serbia. I'm sure I need to do more research on that because I guarantee you all this stuff's connected. I was too young back then, and I haven't gone back and really looked at all that. Back then, I was too busy being a kid to know enough about what was going on with Bosnia and Serbia and all that. But anyway. The predictions just continue to land, and sadly, I wish I was wrong about all of them. I mean, sadly, the things I predict, they're not things that I want to be right, but I call them out before they happen, so hopefully people can wake up. So yeah, it was back in March that we said Pete Rose about to turn 83. Better look out. This whole Ohtani gambling thing's pointing to Pete Rose. And again, one more time. Now he's dead 87 days after Ohtani's birthday, while the Pope's 87. Remember, Japan's important to the Jesuits. You guys remember at the beginning of this year, they put out that show. Hold on. They put out that show on, I think it was on FX, Shogun, about, Protestants arriving in Japan and the Jesuits are already there. The last superior general of the Jesuits died in Japan. The Jesuits get a lot of their knowledge from the Far East. But Japan's the house of the rising sun. The Catholic Church all about the sun. The Jesuit order's logo is the sun. And, for the record, the Catholic Church equals, here, this 87-193 thing with Ohtani. Again, 87 days after Ohtani's birthday, 193 days after the story broke. The Catholic Church is 87. The founder of the Jesuits, Ignatius of Loyola, his name is 87. And 75, like the Superior General 75 right now. And what is it? Roman Catholic? What is it? Catholicism? Catholicism? Hold on. Well, I can't think right now. Is it Roman Catholic Church? It's Roman Catholic Church. That's what it is. It's also 104, but it's 193 as well. But yeah, again, all roads lead to Rome. It's amazing how simple it is to control humanity when you're the authorities. Like, just give them the bread and the circus. That's really all it takes. Give them a few showgirls. You can abuse the shit out of them. That's all they need. That's all these little plebs need. Plebs, that's the old Roman word for, just the easily manipulated people. Just give the plebs some bread and circus. They'll stay stuck on stupid. I started to realize that after 9/11 happened too. I was like, nobody cares about anything. They just want to be entertained. I think the Gladiator movie came out around that time with Russell Crowe. Are you not entertained? Hold on. Does Steve Garvey campaign have a phone? I'm going to leave a message for Steve Garvey campaign. I might try that in a second. Hold on. I forgot to go down all the way down memory lane. I forgot some of it. All right, so hold on. Let's go back. Hold on. Let's go back. Let's go back and recap this baseball season. I got to see what day that spring training game was. Look at that. They changed the photo. They're like, fuck, we better change it. He's on to us. Put up a different photo. Okay. Hold on. Sweet lady's calling. Hold on. I'll be... All right. It's better talking to a sweet lady than talking about all these dead celebrities, I'll tell you that much. But hold on. What day did spring training start? I literally cannot remember right now. I know that they opened the season on March 20th. But hold on. What was the first spring training game? It wasn't in February, was it? Was it in February? Yeah, it's sometime in February. All right, hold on. They're going to help us out here. There it was, the very first game of the year, February 22nd, 53rd day of the year. Steve Garvey, date of birth. So that was, okay, that's right. So that's 62 days after Steve Garvey's birthday, or his 63rd day of his age. Well, it ends with a big sacrifice. That's 62, first of all. And if you write out, never mind, just that doesn't matter right now. Major League Baseball, 63. It would have been his 63rd day of his age, or 62 days after his birthday. So the MLB season starts on his 63rd day of his age. There were so many rituals this year perfectly synced with Steve Garvey. And now here we are with the death of Pete Rose. It's just, it really is sick. But that March 20th game in a leap year, that's the 80th day of the year. So yeah, that game was 89 days after his birthday. So the Dodgers won the first game of the year. This was an easy call that the Dodgers would win the opening day on March 20th, because LA has a double connection to 89. And you know what? Again, Pete Rose did get kicked out of baseball in 89, didn't he? He sure did. But this game was 89 days after his birthday. Again, March 20th in a leap year, 80th day of the year. Easy math, because February ends on the 60th day of the year in a leap year. 31 days in January, 29 in February in a leap year. So 60 plus 20, 80. His birthday's the 22nd, so 9 days to the end of the year, 89. Los Angeles Dodgers, 89. Los Angeles, California, 89. Dodgers win it 5-2, Battle of California. We were talking about this back then. California, 52. Governor, 52. Go dig up the video where I'm talking about, or not governor, but government is 52. Authorities, 52. The cabal's 52. I'll tell you who the cabal is right now in California. Gavin Newsom, 52. Jesuit scumbag. But then the Padres, then it was bad news for the Dodgers the next day. You know, the Ohtani gambling news came out. Oh, my God, is Ohtani going to become Pete Rose? But they're like, oh, never mind. It was just his translator making all the bets out of his account. Yeah, okay. How come Pete Rose didn't use the same excuse? Pete Rose is like, I'm learning Spanish. It's my Spanish translator. It's my Spanish tutor. Steve Garvey was laughing about that joke back then. All right. Anyway. All right. I'm going to drop the link in case anybody else has anything to add. The link's in the chat. If you guys got here late, just take that red bar and rewind to the beginning, because you're going to want the recap. I can run it through real quick. Again, dead at 83 on 83 date numerology, as predicted in March. RIP. The whole season sync with Steve Garvey. ESPN's first photo about this has Steve Garvey standing behind him. Today's 83 days before Steve Garvey's birthday, who's expected to become senator. Election equals 83, like murder, like this. Hey, you know what? Let's read the lyrics to Murder by Numbers in light of this ritual right here. Let's just do it for the nth time and see how perfect it is. Because again, murder equals 83. Election equals 83. And how did these lyrics go from this song from 1983? Here, let's read the lyrics one more time and see if it finally sets in for all the skeptics. Murder by Numbers by the Police. Once that you've decided on killing, first you make a stone of your heart, and if you find that your hands are still willing, then you can turn a murder into art. There really isn't any need for bloodshed. You just do it with a little more finesse. If you can slip a tablet into someone's coffee, then it avoids an awful lot of mess. It's murder by numbers, 1, 2, 3. It's as easy to learn as your ABCs. Now, if you have a taste for this experience, if you're flushed with your very first success, then you must try a twosome or a threesome. You'll find your conscience bothers you much less. Because murder is like anything you take to. It's a habit-forming need for more and more. You can bump off every member of your family and anyone else you find a bore. Puff Daddy and the family, he's like one of the only ones still breathing. Because it's murder by numbers, 1, 2, 3. It's as easy to learn as your ABCs. Now you can join the ranks of the illustrious in history's great dark hall of fame. All our greatest killers were industrious, at least the ones that we all know by name. By the way, don't wait. Now watch when they put Pete Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame now that he's dead. But you could reach the top of your profession if you become the leader of the land, for murder is the sport of the elected. And you don't need to lift a finger of your hands. If I had a mic, I'd drop it. Come on, man. All right, we got AWOL08 who wants to come on and share something. What's up, AWOL? AWOL?
Yo, can you hear me, Zach?
Yeah, what's up?
Hey, I just wanted to add this real quick. Pete Rose's first time back inside of an MLB stadium, if you look it up, it was August 7th, 2022. The Phillies brought him back in honor of the 1980 World Series team. If you do the date numerology on that, it's 57.
They brought him back on 8/7. For the record, that's the anniversary of the Jesuits coming out of suppression, too. But it goes with his name. Peter Edward Rose Sr., 87, now dead 87 days after Ohtani's birthday, who started the year with the gambling scandal. August 7th, 2022. First time he was in an MLB stadium since when? Since he got suspended from baseball?
Yep, it was his first time allowed back in a stadium.
Look at that. What was the other point you made about this a second ago?
The date numerology on that, 8/7/2022 is 57.
57. Yeah, 57. Yeah. And the Phillies went to the World Series that year. That was the 118th World Series. And in spring training that year, we said it'll either be the Phillies or the Dodgers in the NL because they're the two 118 cities for the 118th World Series. The year before that, we said it's going to be the Braves because they changed their park to Truist Park, which equal 117. They did Hank Aaron dirty that season. Last year, we had the Rangers after game one with 50-1 odds. 116th World Series, we told you Dodgers were a lock. As soon as Mookie Betts came over on 4-2. 115th World Series, we told you why the Nationals were going to beat the Astros in Game 7. That took till nearly the end of the regular season to figure out. 114th World Series, that's the one that Vice News wrote their hit piece on me because I said why it was going to be the Astros over the Dodgers. Is that right? Hold on, am I skipping it? No, I take it back. That was the 113th World Series. That was the year we got the hit piece. 114th World Series is where I helped a dentist win $300,000 because we said Boston would beat LA 4-1 99 days before the Super Bowl, where Tom Brady would beat Boston to LA at age 41. And we said Chris Sale will probably close out that game. And if I'm not mistaken, he might not have got the close, but he was wearing number 41 at the time. Right. Again, and let's keep going back. 112th World Series. That's the one where the Cubs broke the 108-year drought. And we said they'd do that in spring training on November 2nd. Of course, they did. And now in spring training, I did think they were going to beat Houston. But once Houston was not looking like the team, I said, okay, never mind. It's going to be over Cleveland. Major League, like the Major League films with Charlie Sheen. Again, Major League equals 108 double stitches on a baseball. Cubs break the 108-year drought over Cleveland. And the year before that, what did we tell you? 111th World Series. We said in spring training why the Mets were going to be there. New York 111. And that was the first year I ever made a call on the future of a World Series. New York equals 111. Remember who they lost to? They lost to the team, the Royals.
The Royals, yeah.
At the time of the Queen. The Mets are in Queens, New York. The Queen was born on the 111th day of the year. And I go back and look at the box score. Matt Harvey got pulled after his 111th pitch. After Eric Hosmer come up to the plate with a 111 batting average for the World Series and knocked in the first run of the game on November 1st, 11/1, closing out the Mets, New York, on 11/1 in the 111th World Series. And I still remember also about that World Series, as the game was ending, the announcer said, really strange coincidence and tragedy for the Royals team. Their starting pitcher and the closer tonight both lost their fathers within the last 24 hours. I was just like, God, people don't see what's going on here? God.
Yeah, and another thing I seen with the Pete Rose thing is the Phillies played against two of the hotter teams that are in the AL as well. They won the 1980 World Series over the Royals 4-1, and then in '83 they lost to the Orioles 4-1.
Yep.
So there's two possible rematches, but also the Phillies Another thing I've seen with the Phillies is they can have the same exact playoff route other than the World Series finals, as in they would have to play, if the Brewers won, it'd be the Brewers against the Phillies, and then the Dodgers, NLCS, and then they could play a possible AL East team for the World Series going back to 08, the Celtics won the World Series. There's a lot of stuff going on that I was just looking at.
All right. Well, I appreciate all those thoughts. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Have a good one, Zach.
All right. Take care. Okay, so again, long story short, you guys go back to it was probably the March 21st or 22nd video. It was right after the Ohtani news broke. We pointed out Pete Carroll was about to turn 83. Or not, I said Pete Carroll. Pete Rose, about to turn 83. And we know 83 is super fateful. We've been talking about how this whole season stink with Steve Garvey. And now here Pete Rose is dead at 83 on the 83 date numerology, 83 days before Steve Garvey's birthday. Perfectly synced with Ohtani, who had the gambling scandal at the beginning of the year, when that's what Pete Rose is remembered for, being banned from baseball for gambling. And I mean, could it be any more undeniable? 87 days after Ohtani's birthday. And like we've been showing for years, how do they line all of this up so perfectly unless these guys on the field, who are the mega stars, are all born and bred to be? And almost like imagine being a little kid with your toys, right? You got your little Ohtani action figure here. You got your old dusty Steve Garvey action figure here. You're not quite as dusty Pete Rose action figure here. Like if you were some little math genius, you could be like, okay, I got the perfect ritual for these three guys all lined up, coming to a point on this day. And yeah, just all year been a broken record about all the 87 death stuff in light of the Pope being 87 right now too. I mean, it's just the other part of it. So, and yeah, Pete Rose again on that 83 Phillies team. Ohtani translators getting sentenced on game 1 of the World Series. Are you serious? I mean, are you serious? It's true. Yeah. Game 1 of the World Series is October 25th. We've been counting down to that date. You know what? I never even really investigated this guy. I just got to see if Ippei Mizuhara. It's probably like that. Ippei Mizuhara. Huh. The 80's interesting because the season began on the 80th day of the year for the Dodgers. The 73 is also interesting because Los Angeles Dodgers also equals 73. If you go back and read when the AP broke the news on March 21st, it says that after the game, by the way, Dave Roberts is a Japanese born American, right? So the Dodgers opened the season, not in Japan, but over in Korea, not far away, with the superstar this year, Ohtani, who's Japanese. But the story is that after that Game 1 win, that Dave Roberts sat down the team and told them to brace for some big headlines. Here, let me see if this is working. Dodgers all-time record in World Series. And again, the Braves and Mets by splitting today, which is what I thought they'd do, and both end up on 89 wins. See how Atlanta Braves is 89. 89 is the 24th, prime is 2024. But, if you look at a Mets game, it's always written Queens, NY when they have a home game. It's the year of the 120th World Series. So Queens, NY is 120, and Atlanta's 120. It's the year of the 120th World Series. Last games of the regular season in this year of the 120th World Series. They have these teams facing each other, both with a chance to get in the postseason, and they did. Again, none of this stuff's an accident. And here's what also tell you it's not an accident. Just like this crazy storm that messed up these games and rained them out. Again, weather warfare is a real thing. And I guarantee you they wanted to shift these games to this date because they had all this shit planned out. Guaranteed. For everyone who thinks that that's a Twilight Zone or just too much to believe, you don't got to believe it. All you got to do is do some research and homework. Weather warfare was admitted to August 15th, 1952 on the Jesuit order's birthday. The U.S. military admitted to weather warfare in the time of Vietnam. JFK gave the speech about the future of weather control September 25th, 1961 at the United Nations. And again, just another, amazing prediction that almost no one cares about. I told you guys all year since Maui burned up Sync with the Rock that there'd be a super crazy hurricane this year. Synced with the Rock's 52nd birthday on May 2nd, 5-2, when he was a Miami Hurricane football player. And look at you guys, Hurricane Helene formed on the anniversary of JFK's weather control speech, exactly 146 days after the Rock's 5-2 birthday. And Hurricane Helene is also 146, and it's also 259, like 25/9, the day it formed. And it's also 83, like football, but also like murder because it's killing a lot of people. And it did form exactly 83 days before the Pope's birthday. And don't forget that flood is 83 and is doing a lot of flooding, and Earth is 83, and the Babylonian god of flooding, Enlil, has the 83 connection as well as 52. You see all those words? Enlil, Earth, flood, Pope, 52-week calendar for the Pope. I mean, look at the overlap with those words. Flood, Earth, and Enlil are all the exact same in these three ciphers. Earth and Enlil are the same in every cipher. Enlil, the Babylonian god of flooding. A lot of you guys are like, I didn't even know The Rock was a Miami Hurricane. Come on, you guys. I've been calling this shit out for a long time. You guys got to... See, the problem is a lot of you guys are just so busy in the chat writing shit, you're not listening to anything I'm saying. Everyone has amnesia. The only person who's screen recording and keeping track of everything is my troll, and he only reposts shit when I get it wrong. I guarantee you he would have had a video up had Miami lost the other night, because I said at the beginning of the season that Miami would start 5-0, and there'd probably be a hurricane around the time that happened. Couldn't have been more dead on. And again, it's because the Rock's from the Bay Area, and now they're going to play San Francisco Cal 5-0 when San Francisco equals 50. But yeah, The Rock, the Miami Hurricane, who they burned up Maui, synced up with, and now at age 52, this is like one of the most devastating hurricanes to the country probably in our lifetime. And this is exactly what I said would happen. Go read the Vice News hit piece on me from 2017 where we called the World Series dead on, synced up with Hurricane Harvey. Vice News wrote their hit piece making fun of what I said about 52 and hurricanes. Here, let's revisit it in 2024 and see if it's sunk in yet. They published it on Joe Biden's birthday. That's funny. So, again, here's their little piece of shit article. Wacko YouTuber approves World Series was rigged. And by the way, I still remember this, that they got some dickhead whose name was Sean Newell to write the article. And I don't think this was an accident because he's making fun of all the 52 stuff I wrote. And notice how Sean Newell's 52. But the video comes courtesy of a guy named Zachary K. Hubbard, and he is convinced that everything is rigged. Never what I've said. But look at what he goes on to say. Everything is news, politics, weather, sports. Now, all those things are the things that I say are rigged. Yeah, that's correct. But then he adds the word in everything, which is false reporting. Getting down to the brass tacks, Hubbard posits that the Astros World Series victory was foretold by Matt Harvey's start in Houston, and it was, which would just so happened to be the first start after the Houston area was devastated by Hurricane Harvey. And let's not forget that we called what day Harvey would flood Houston. Again, we called that on the 52-date numerology, the 239th day of the year, which is the 52nd prime on the anniversary of Stevie Ray Vaughan, who had the best-selling album Texas Flood. Remember, Stevie Ray Vaughan died on that day in history, supposedly in a helicopter crash. That start, coincidentally, was 52 days before the start of the World Series. Hold on to your butts like he's Samuel L. Jackson in Jurassic Park. Shit goes back to then. Because we've only just scratched the surface. And then he quotes me, the reason that matters is because of the word flood in gematria equals 52. Houston flooded on a date with 52 numerology on August 27th, which was the 239th day of the year, which is the 52nd prime number. It was 27 years to the day of the death of Stevie Ray Vaughan, who is remembered for the album Texas Flood. Yeah, exactly what I was saying. Exactly what I was saying. And then he makes fun of how the game ended on Charlie Morton's 52nd pitch. As they blurt out they couldn't have scripted it any better. And they put in my recent video at the time of Joe Girardi and the New York 39 ritual. I mean, fuck out of here. So Yeah. Again, it's just the dumbasses are the only people who haven't caught on in 2024. Yeah. And again, don't forget the year before that, USA Today took a shot at me. The big lead, Zachary K. Hubbard, just another unprecedented prediction. Why the Broncos would beat the Panthers in week 3, why Von Miller would be the MVP of that Super Bowl, all called out in week 3, why there'd be a Black Panther tribute, which there was, where Beyonce was criticized for dressing up as a Black Panther, all called in week 3. Still remember Peyton Manning's wounded duck to open the game, at 18-yard wobbler from number 18 to 81 for Manning's 18th season. Fuck out of here. But notice, none of these piece of shit publications will talk shit anymore. If you guys don't know, the big lead's USA Today. That's their publication. But a man calling... all of them do this. It's not my name. A man calling himself Zachary Cameron. Isn't it funny how all of my trolls, the whole troll network out there that's made all the slander videos about me, all pretend like Zachary Cameron's not my name too? And isn't it funny how the mainstream media does the same thing? They make it seem like, oh, maybe that's not his name. You can see that all these faceless shills with all their bullshit videos over the years. That's not his real name. He's undercover Mossad. Well, man, if I'm undercover Mossad, then Mossad must be the fucking greatest intelligence agency there ever was, trying to save humanity. Clearly not Mossad, because I spent a lot of time exposing Israel and what a dark, demented nation it is, too. Thank you, James Larkin. You make me feel appreciated. Again, I can't contribute with all the flaming FAGGOTSs online, flashing their fruity fingers, painting their nails, and doing all this other shit that gets all the views. But a few people in the world find the work worth a donation. So thank you. Yeah, here, I'll tell you one other thing that is interesting about Cincinnati and Pete Rose dying at this time and the Jesuits. You see how Cincinnati equals 96? This year on May 20th, it was the 503rd anniversary of Ignatius Loyola being shot with a cannonball, and 503 is the 96th prime number, and that cannonball thing is really important to the Jesuits. And remember, Joe Burrow went to LSU right as Billy Cannon died on Cannonball Day. And then Joe Burrow beat Clemson in the championship in New Orleans, just like Billy Cannon did. And he also got the Heisman. The only two LSU Heisman winners ever are Billy Cannon and Joe Burrow. Of course, Joe Burrow's in Cincinnati now. And remember, he took the Bengals to the Super Bowl in their 54 season. Jesuit orders 54, like New Orleans is 54, and he beat Clemson on a 54 date numerology, January 13th, 2020. And I still remember at the end of the game, while the ball was on the 20, the announcer went on this numerology rant about the death of Billy Cannon on May 20th. Jeremy White, his channel is JHW3D. Here, I'll just write it down here what his channel is. JHW, those are his initials, 3D. He started out as a 3D printing channel. But he has the video clip from that championship of what they were saying while the ball was at the 20 about the death of Billy Cannon. And here, I mean, just look at the 4 teams that Billy Cannon played for in the NFL. It should jog your memory about the Bengals Super Bowl run. I'll be right out there, lady. Sweet lady. Sorry, we don't go by lady. We go by sweet lady. I'll be right out there. Houston is now the Tennessee Titans. Joe Burrow went through the Tennessee Titans. Oakland is the Raiders. Joe Burrow went through the Raiders in that playoff run. Kansas City, remember how Kansas City threw the game in the second half? He went through Kansas City. And who drafted Billy Cannon? Who drafted him? Billy Cannon was drafted by the Los Angeles Rams, who he lost to in the Super Bowl. So, again, just death, murder, ritual, rigged sports, rigged elections. This photo right here is one of the most priceless things ever. Don't forget this. The death of Pete Rose at 83 on 83 date numerology. ESPN's first photo was Steve Garvey in the background, 83 days before Steve Garvey's birthday, who's slated to win the election in California, out where Ohtani is, who back in March had the gambling story. And I said that day, I said, Pete Carroll looks like he might be a dead man at 83. So, RIP. And again, thank you, James Larkin. Appreciate it. And shout out to Eddie on the Venmo. I appreciate that, Eddie. Thank you. So, all right, you guys, you want to support the work? Join the Patreon. The Patreon literally pays. A lot of people have made a lot of money, and we're only 4 weeks into the NFL season. I don't charge a whole lot. Again, the knowledge is priceless. It's more than just, again, we do gamble on baseball and all the rest of these rig sports. And that's because you can take advantage of the rig system by knowing the Kabbalah code, the same one I'm giving to you in this stream and every other stream. And all of you guys who can't grasp it, it's because there's not enough processing power up here. It's just like, like a computer from 1990, it can't handle the software today. It's too old and shitty. And that's about the best equivalent I can give for your mind and why you don't understand what I'm putting out. The processing power is to the max up here. Yours is to the minimum. So work on that. And then maybe you can get on the level and you can appreciate what I'm putting down. And maybe you can start to learn to nail the predictions way before they happen, even though I don't want to be right about these things. I didn't want to be right about the massive hurricane synced with The Rock's birthday around the time Miami became 5-0 like I called out before the season began. I didn't want to be right about Pete Rose dying at 83 or any of these other sad predictions I've made and been right about over the years, Thank you, Von Jordan III. He says, pull up the Ace Ventura Secret Agent Man scene. I forget, man, but I can't lie. When I was a little kid and Ace Ventura came out, I thought that movie was hilarious. Dan Marino and all of it. So, anyway, appreciate that. All right, True Seeker. Till next time.